All right. Good afternoon, good day, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hi, my name is Michael Forrester, and I want to talk to you about the 8 steps to the ultimate AWS certification plan, which is a proven plan that is changing and evolving all the time that we used repeatedly to help people pass exams inside of AWS. And this has ranged, by the way, from Amazon employees to newbies who have never even touched cloud. But what do you do when you want to get started and you want to like pass the exam? So I'm going to run through this pretty quickly because I want to make sure this is lean and efficient. But there's a couple of different spaces here. The objective here is how do we give you a step-by-step guide to get expertise and experience towards not just the certification, but having the experience and the expertise to actually do what the certification represents. So we're going to talk about prerequisites. We're going to talk about learning in the context of certification, about how to get hands-on experience, how to challenge yourself with practice exams, scheduling your exam, how to continually learn. And we will not be talking about BAH specific offerings today because this video is actually just for BAH. And so you know the offerings already. Okay, here's what we're not doing. We're not going through a hype cycle. So I'm not going to talk about the latest cutting edge, this, that, and the other. The AWS certifications are changing all the time. Cloud is a, what is it, like $50 billion business now in 2021. It's been around for 15 years. It's an afterthought. It's not a middle thought. It's not even cutting edge. It's certainly not bleeding edge. Cloud is an afterthought, even though it is continuing to evolve. Also, the console is pretty overwhelming. So, just so you know, like we're not going to go through every single service. We're just going to talk about the services relevant for the exam, and we're mainly talking about certification. So we won't be going through every single service in any way, shape, or form. So let's talk prerequisites. So if you decide that you want to go after anything beyond either a business certification or the Cloud Essential certification, one, you probably need a compelling reason because there's going to be about anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks worth of investment in addition to whatever production investment time you have in running workloads on AWS. And so you've got to have a compelling reason. Is it money? Is it prestige? Is it competency? Is it certainty? Like, what are you looking for, right? And so have a compelling reason as to why you go towards AWS. 2, you have to consider yourself technical. So either you are associating with geeks or you are yourself a geek, to use the vernacular. And you must have a fundamental understanding and knowledge of the tech industry. And preferably, you're either working on a role that touches cloud or with a group that is working on cloud. Third prerequisite is that you must know a command line PowerShell. Like you must be comfortable with Bash or PowerShell and or a programming language, preferably a bit of both. I don't need you to be a feature programmer, but you need to be able to know what variables are, conditionals. You need to be able to at least learn how to interact with an API. So regardless of what language it is or how long it's been, you've got to know a little bit of shell and a little bit of how to hack a programming language. And last but not least is that, preferably, like what services you're going for. If you're in machine learning, you're probably going to go for some kind of SageMaker, right? Or data processing or batch processing program. If you're in core infrastructure, you're probably going to look for CI/CD tools in addition to core app hosting, such as virtual machines, containers, or serverless. If you're a developer, you might only be interested in services that either help you develop or that are, very abstracted like serverless so that you can, manage your applications without having to manage the infrastructure. If you're a database administrator, you might look at things like RDS, DocumentDB, keystrokes. You might look at the services DynamoDB, like services that are only related to data stores and data store management. So you got to have like a focus in mind. And you don't worry, we're going to offer some help for that. I will reserve the right to throw in gratuitous Mandalorian pictures, because it's Baby Yoda, right? All right, choose your exam. So when you're going after certification or even expertise, it's good to just choose an exam, even if you never intend to take the exam. So, for example, you see Cloud Practitioner in the lower area here. Cloud Practitioner is pretty much where everybody starts. So you can see it right here on the bottom. And then we've got the associate's level exams, which I'm circling now with the blue hexagons. And then these 2 exams at the top, those are super professional level exams. And notice that over here, they ask that you have 2-year, 1 year, or 6 months of experience with the cloud. I would probably caveat that and say, hopefully running either a production or semi-production workload before you go. These are after these certifications. Notice that these are role-based. So you've got architecture as a line right here. You've got operations as a line leading up to DevOps, and you've got the developer also leading up to DevOps. So first thing you do is pick your certification. What's the certification that's going to represent the arena or expertise that you're looking for? It is recommended, by the way, that if you don't know where to start, just go for cloud practitioner. If you have prior experience with AWS and you already kind of have an idea of where you want to head, you might want to start with our architecture, or if you have a role, go with your specific role. Now, the advanced certifications, if you are new to AWS, it's recommended that you go actually this way to solutions architecture and then go after your certification. Why? Because you're going to need to know how other services operate in the context of networking, in the context of security. Not so much with database and machine learning, but it's still useful to know what S3 and VPCs and security groups and all these other aspects are. So it is actually still recommended that if you don't have prior experience, go for cloud practitioner first. If you do, go straight for solutions architecture, then go over and get your networking certification. You can go straight forward if you don't believe me, but trust me, you're going to have a better time achieving your purple specialty certification if you get that blue solutions architecture certification first. Okay, so first thing, get your target. That's the first thing you're gonna go for. Now, after you got your target, it is worth mentioning, by the way, there's tons of classes that have nothing to do with certifications. There are business essentials classes and technical essentials classes and security essentials classes. So if you are going to go after your security certification, you might actually come over here and go after. Sorry, a little mess up there. You might actually go after your certification with security essentials first, then come over to and go after solutions architecture, and then go after security. So you can actually go after the essentials that make sense to you. Business essentials is really for people who just want a business certification between them and cloud practitioner. And then technical essentials is an interesting class. I'm going to be interesting long term what they're going to do with it. But this class has labs in it. The new cloud practitioner class does not have labs in it. So if you are a technical professional, you might actually want to take technical essentials if you don't want the cloud practitioner certification instead of taking cloud practitioner. Because cloud practitioner, unless you take it with us, doesn't actually have labs from the official AWS core context. So just something to be mindful of. Let me clear all my drawings off here. All right. So you got your exam. And by the way, they are switching the exams to hands-on. So just know that system operations is soon going to have a hands-on component. Other exams will have a hands-on component. Right now, they are very much a multiple right answer or multiple choice kind of question. So almost, I don't want to trivialize it, but like a trivia exam, right? More about testing your understanding of concepts and ideas, not necessarily typing on the command line or in the console. Now, why? Because there's other clouds. Now that you've got your target, so you know what level of expertise and experience you're shooting for, then what you're going to do is you're going to get a ramp-up guide. That's going to be your very next step. Now I'm going to click on this link, and this is going to take me straight to AWS's website, which is going to show you that by role and by solution, including game tech, containers, machine learning, serverless security. The only one, by the way, that's not here is the networking specialty, but there are paths here for whatever role you're looking for with AWS. So if you are a developer and you want to go all the way from cloud practitioner to development to DevOps engineer, or same with operations, right? There are paths that you can follow. So when you download these guides act as a step-by-step like guide, if you will, for how to learn the fundamentals of cloud, how to dive deeper, and they just keep going, learning developer fundamentals. So this is obviously the developer guide. And as you do this, there's free web pages, digital trainings, tutorials, hands-on labs that are free for you to take. The only thing that will cost you something is that when it lists classroom trainings, those are obviously spend, right? You're going to spend something for classroom trainings. But notice that it's a milestone. Developing on AWS is inserted here. And then guess what? Immediately afterwards, they're actually asking you to take the cloud practitioner exam. Something that AWS doesn't say, but you should hear from me, is taking the class that is typically associated with the exam is not enough to pass the exam. You have to have experience, and you have to take the class ideally, and you have to follow the steps that are here in this ramp-up guide. Think of this as a map to get to where you want to go. So cloud practitioner is listed here as an exam, and then there's more items to study and learn And eventually, as you get far enough down this ramp up guide, they will give you a suggestion of like, you know what, now it's time for you to take the developer on AWS associate's exam. Did you see all that we just looked at? Now, do you have to do and master every single thing here? No, but it's going to help you when you actually go to take the exam. And then notice it keeps going. Notice it says learn about DevOps the Amazon way, right? Keeps going down, and then eventually what will happen is that you will actually get to the DevOps engineering professional. If you do this step-by-step guide, even if you were to just skim the training, you would be better prepared than most AWS cloud engineers that I meet. Not from Amazon, not from AWS, but just like people in general. And so I highly recommend that you grab the ramp up guide that makes sense to you, download the guide and follow the steps, because it will utterly prepare you to be a master of AWS, no matter how far you go, cloud practitioner, associates level, or the final master level. Master level, that sounds weird, doesn't it? All right, so let's talk back to our presentation. Let's talk about these steps here. So you got the ramp up guide, and now what's going to happen is that you're actually going to do what the ramp up guide says. So if it says read the white papers, take an instructor-led class, the only thing is, like, if there's a glossary, you might want to just set that aside and just refer to it as you need it. And the AWS practice exams, I wouldn't take those. I would just leave those alone, actually, for the time being, because I have better recommendations for practice exams than the official AWS ones. By the way, S3 is rarely out. All right, now you've picked your certification because you've already said you're satisfied your prerequisites. You've gotten a map via the ramp up guide to get to your target, your certification in this case. And now you're doing what it says, right? Now, step 5 is to get some hands-on experience. Now, you may have seen this before, but Quick Labs has 13 or 14 free labs that you can actually take for free at Quick Labs. All you need to do is filter by hands-on labs. And then, typically you can find them by typing in introduction. If you type in introduction, it will typically give you all the introductory labs. And notice the first thing that happens is there's a free lab. Here's a free lab. Here's a free lab. Just to be clear, there's about 13 or 14 labs out here that are free. All you need to do is create a login. Logins are free, don't cost you anything. You could also, by the way, spend $1, which is what one credit represents, and you could actually take your, this lab just by spending a credit. If you work for Booz Allen, just know that when you sign up with your Booz Allen Hamilton email address into Quick Labs, and this is the public Quick Labs site, right? WebAge provides you with lab credits that you can use to just kind of like practice and go out here and do what you need to in order to learn and grow. So just know that that's always an option here as well. Now, in addition, if you create your own personal AWS account, and if you do that, please do not use your bah.com email, because you will get a call from the security team and they will ask you to justify what project it is, and your manager is going to get notified. So don't use your bah.com email address to make your own personal account. But if you do, you can actually get access to these free public kind of unlisted workshops that Amazon has. And notice this is all about EC2. The other one's all about the Elastic Container Service. There are free workshops where there's videos and you can step by step walk through all of these different pieces of certification. Sorry, all of these different services with AWS. So here's the EKS workshop. By the way, there's often links to other workshops down at the bottom left. So for example, here's the partner workshop set where you can actually find a bunch of other workshops. And so this is what you would use to get hands-on experience with AWS. Now you can also get instructor-led add-ons to take a class with us, but also truthfully, like any platform like Linux Academy, which is now owned by A Cloud Guru, or Cloud Academy, which provide lab environments, can be spectacular to get extra hands-on experience. You can also just go run blog posts about starting various services inside your free account. Now, word of caution, if you use your free account to play around, make sure you start whatever you're doing and you stop it. Don't leave services running for days, because like NAT gateways, stuff stuck in S3 buckets, EC2 instances, because it could add up to $10, $20, and all of a sudden you're like, do you want to spend that much, right? You don't need to. You can use your free account, play with most of these services, and spend like this. One of these workshops will cost you less than $10. Most of the time they cost you less than $2. I'm just being cautious about what I say is probably going to happen. So that's step 5, is you get some hands-on experience. Step 6 is that we recommend that you take really good practice exams that show you the rights and the wrongs, and that actually link to the original AWS documentation so you can actually read it, and if you need to actually dive further into a service. Be the engineer who actually reads the documentation, because you're going to discover things about these third-party services in the documentations that most people don't know about. So here's our recommended practice exams, which this presentation is actually attached to the link for the YouTube video, so you can get access to it at any time. But these are our recommended exams. And by the way, there are specialty exams. You'll have to email me for that if you want them. But here are the generic exams, ranging from developer to sysops to architect, plus the DevOps and the Architect Pro roles as well. Now, once you're ready, you just go schedule your exam. How do you do that? Well, you can actually just go to the AWS, the certification exam site, and that's actually pretty simple to do. If you just type in AWS certification, once you get past all the ads, the very first thing it will do is it'll take you to the certification site, and then it'll say, hey, I want to schedule an exam. You just click on schedule an exam. It will ask you to log in. In my particular case, right, I actually was just logged in, so it actually just logged me right in. You do want the non-partner login on the left, and then you just click on schedule a new exam. They are all online and proctored. But here you can actually schedule with Pearson VUE is who you want. And here's all the exams that are available to you, right? So, from here, you just click on, for example, I want to schedule with Pearson VUE. And then what will happen, it'll log you into Pearson VUE, and then you'll start asking some questions like, do you want to do it online or at a local test center? Obviously, in today's pandemic, as I say with a cough, you probably want to take it from online. Word of caution, if you take it online at home, you need a completely clear desk, one monitor, and nothing else other than your laptop video camera or whatever. No paper, no wristwatches. If someone walks in while you're taking the exam, you will most likely fail, because no one is to walk in or be available and signal in any way, shape, or form when you actually take an exam. So make sure that your friends and family know to leave you alone, that you're isolated. Make sure it's a very clear and clean environment. Okay? Okay. Now, once you decide that you're going to schedule your exam, you're going to then, after you take it and pass it, because that's what's just going to happen, that's just an afterthought at this point in time, you're going to create a daily habit of keeping up. So you're going to make sure that you look at the learning library, stay connected with the blogs, go to the webinars, track what's going on, sign up for third-party newsletters about AWS. You want to stay connected with what's happening, because you will fall behind very quickly if you do not spend at least once a month catching up on what's changed in AWS for the services that you're interested in. So stay engaged. And just a reminder that don't start complicated. Like, people come up with these roadmaps. It's like, do this, and it's like, that's a lot actually. Instead, just start with Cloud Practitioner if you're unsure about where to start. And if you're unsure, if you're already technical with AWS, then you might want to actually go straight to architecting on AWS and chase that certification and all those steps. Okay. And then let's just wrap it up, right? So bringing it all together is that we focused on prerequisites. We chose our exam. We chose the ramp-up guide that made sense, like a map to get to the exam that we're chasing. We did what the ramp-up guide said. We got some hands-on experience. We practiced 95% on our practice exams that were suggested to you. And by the way, just so you know, dozens of students have taken those practice exams, and if they've gotten 95% on the first 3 and then gone and take the test, all of them thus far have passed. So this is a very surefire method to pass the exam. Step 6, obviously, is to schedule your exam and then just keep on growing from there. So I'm Michael Forrester. You can reach me at michael.forrester@webagesolutions.com. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please catch me online. Otherwise, good luck practicing and passing your exam.